Once upon a time, there was a girl named Alice. She was sitting under the tree and watching her sister read a book. She was so curious by the fact that there's no picture in that book. She began to feel really bored. All of a sudden, she saw a white rabbit with pink eyes ran close by her.
The story of Alice in Wonderland was told continuously from generation to generation. Undoubtedly, I believe that each one of you may have one same questions in common, and that is, how did Alice in Wonderland become one of the world's most well-known classic novels of all time? Let me guide you through the history of this legendary novel, in order to give you a clearer picture and a better understanding. Started in 1856, scholar Henry Liddell and his family moved into Christchurch, Oxford. The family later became friends with the mathematician Charles Louis Dodson. Dodson got along well with the children, and he loves telling them strange stories that made Alice, the second daughter of the Liddell family, felt close to Dodson. One day in July, 10 years old Alice and her two sisters went on a rowing boat with Mr. Dodson to tell them about a story. He told them about the tales that he made up concerning about the fantastic world that the girl's name Alice found herself tripped down into the rabbit hole. The real Alice was so amazed by the story, so she asked him to write it down for her. He later wrote it down with some extra story added. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland finally get published by the Macmillans in 1865 under the pseudonym Lewis Carroll. His book later became one of the most popular children's books in the English language.
Pieces by pieces, the author gathers information around and creates a new dimension of the story. For example, Alice's father connects the white rabbit with times. Because just like the white rabbit in the novel, he is too, always running late. In the matter of places, the rabbit hole is one of the most significant places as it represents the door to Alice's Wonderland. By studying the history, the rabbit hole can be found in the dining hall in Christchurch, Oxford, where Alice's father normally had dinner with other senior members. However, some of the senior members did not take the normal path as the other undergraduates did. Instead, they went through the panel door. The way is very narrow spiral staircases which lead down to the senior room. So it can be said that this place inspired others about the rabbit hole. Another substantial symbol from the novel is the garden. This garden represents the Garden of Eden, which is a secretive place that could not be entered without permission. This place is full of innocence and pureness. For Alice, this could mean feeling of desire. Alice is a young girl who tries to retain her childish and doesn't want to grow up. Therefore, the meaning is related to Alice's personality. Finally, the caterpillar mushroom. Each part of the mushroom gives out different outcomes. Alice needs to gain expertise on how to use the mushroom to control her body size. This implies teenager frustration about puberty and how they cope with the problem.
Reading through Alice in Wonderland can astonish us by little details writer put in the story. Every settings and characters deliver its deep meaning to the readers. The most apparent themes in Alice in Wonderland is growing up. For Alice, adult world is a world with dictatorial obligations and social customs. When Alice went down the rabbit hole and found Wonderland, it is the world full of nonsense, confusions, and disorder. Alice little by little learned how to adapt herself and deal with the situations. If you really try to understand the book, actually, Wonderland is a metaphor of our own world.
through the eye of a child.
Each event and places is symbolic to something. Riverbank, where the story all began and ended, is a quiet place encircled by noises and chaotic world. A rabbit hole is a tunnel that brings Alice to Wonderland, which can be a classic problem of the beginning. After Alice falls down to the hole, she sees a fairy knight's garden. Thus, she wants to get through the door. However, she has trouble adjusting her size. From the interpretation, this can reflect Alice's demand to do what is unsuitable for her and the desire to grow up. The Queen of Hearts Garden is a pleasant place for children, but the adults coerce it. This can show us the fact that the actual world of grown up is not that easy to live in. The court is the last settings of her adventures in Wonderland. The event focuses on the trial about the knave stealing torch from the Queen of Hearts. As story goes on, Alice goes too. Alice stands up for what she believes is right. As she learns to understand the world as the way it is, then she's in fantasies comes to an end. For most of us, Alice in Wonderland is just a childish fairy tale full of dreams and fantasies. However, there has been a fascinating study from psychologists. Since early 19s, not only Alice in Wonderland is for children, but it also contains some underlying message for adults. There are so many lessons that we could learn from Alice in Wonderland. These are some of them. Alice learns to manage her own personal growth. By eating, she grows, and by drinking, she shrinks. But growing may not just mean growing in body size. It could mean feeling certain or uncertain about herself, to pass through the door and grab the key. Alice indeed is the one in command of her own confidence. Also, she learns how to use the resources available and make the most out of it. As when she can use much room to control her body size. This is one of the important characteristics everyone needs in life.
You should know what you really want to achieve. We can learn the importance of objective by the conversation held by Alice and the Cheshire Cat. Would you tell me, please, which way I ought to go from here?
That depends on where you want to go.
I don't much care where.
Then it doesn't really matter which way you go.
We can learn from this example that it is important to know what you want to do, because if you don't, you could end up nowhere. Thus, to seek a right path that will bring you to the right goals. If you know what you want, then you'll try harder to succeed it. The Red Queen also plays her role in teaching lessons to the readers. It takes all the running you can do to keep in the same place. What does this mean? Most of the times, people stay in their comfort zone because it is easier. But is it really easier? In logic thinking, it is. But actually, we're making it harder on ourselves. Have you ever stayed in the same situation where you are unsatisfied with just because it seems harder to get out? However, you have to be reminded that although to change is hard, but really it is more difficult to stay the same. As what the Queen once said, don't ever settle for less than what you deserve in life. Dear, dear, how queer everything is today. And yesterday, things went on just as usual. I wonder if I've changed in the night. Let me think. Was I the same when I got up this morning? I almost think I can remember feeling a little different. But if I'm not the same, the next question is, who in the world am I? That's the great puzzle. When Alice is asked who she is, she starts to question and wonder about her identity. It is significant to know and understand who you are so you can develop your role in life. As a result, you'll be able to improve your ability to match with each role. You should say what you mean. The March air went on. I do. Alice hastily replied. At least, I mean what I say. That's the same thing, you know. To say what you mean and to mean what you say may not be totally the same thing. Communicate correctly is already hard by itself, but to really mean what you say is more important. If words that come out of your mouth are sincere, then life will be much smoother for you. Alice in Wonderland tells everyone to believe in the impossible. There is no use in trying. One can't believe impossible things.
I dare say you haven't had much practice. When I was your age, I always do it for half an hour a day. Why? Sometimes I believe as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast.
By believing in what seems impossible, we'll find a way to solve each problem and enhance our creativity. Everyone who ever succeeds in real life all believe in the impossibility. If we believe we can do it, then we would make an effort.
Believe in your dreams, because all dreams have its own magic. A lot of us are curious about our futures and ourselves. We all have dreams. Figure them out. Now that we are juvenile and vigorous, it's a perfect time. Let the magic of your dreams guide you through your path. Who knows? You may discover some part of yourself that you have never known before. In the scenes when Alice was at Tauji Wood, she was chasing the white rabbit and decided to give up. She then sang to herself, very good advice. Not give up, she found the white rabbit again. There will come a time in life that you feel insecure and lost. Let institution play its part. It is strong and you should right. Trust yourself. Be flexible like Alice. Even she has to be in many weird situations, she can still adapt. Singing A Golden Afternoon, swinging flamingo with the queen, and sipping tea with the March hare. Don't be afraid of what life sends you through. Whenever you are in the tough situations, just remember to be adaptable. In addition, not only Alice in Wonderland make a huge influences in the world of entertainment such as movie, but it also has an influence on other concepts in pop culture. For instance, there are plenty of art pieces illustrating image of characters in the story. Abundant music produced by world-leading bands such as the Beatles that is inspired by Alice. The famous Harry comic book Batman 2 gets some ideas from the character Mad Hatter. Alice in Wonderland's influences goes far beyond anyone would have imagined. A word of medicine even gives out the name Alice in Wonderland syndrome to a neurological ailment. It can be said that Alice in Wonderland is truly a single element that leads pop culture to the way it is today. When we were just a kid, everything in our life was so grateful. We enjoy life and daydreams. Nevertheless, in one way or other, we have to finally grow up. As Alice, she has to wake up from her dreams.
That's when we have to realize that this world is real. We have to accept it no matter what. Although each day of life might be hard or unexpected, live your life because life is full of mystery waiting for you.